Okay. That's interesting. Okay. The audio's got a mind of its own. Like it's doing stuff without any input from me. Okay. Hey, can any of the Discord panel hear me? Speak up if you can. The audio's got a mind of its own. Like it's doing
Brian,
stuff without any input from me. Okay.
Nope.
Hey, can any of the Discord panel hear me? Speak up if you can. The audio's got a mind of its own. Like it's doing
Brian,
stuff without any input from me. Yeah, no, it's not my mic picking up TV volume because my TV's muted, and sort of my PC speaker is the only audio source in my office right now, or my headphones. That's it. I think Discord is doing this. Yeah, no, it's not my mic picking up TV volume because my TV's muted, and so I don't know. Yeah, that was weird. Can the Discord chat still hear me? Yeah, I had all the settings the same way they were last night. Sound check. Okay, now I'm getting an echo in the Discord. Okay. I'll figure this out again. But I'm getting kind of tired of having to completely reinvent the audio settings every time we do this. Because, I mean, I'm writing them down. But either Elgato or YouTube or Discord decides that, no, those aren't going to work. We need entirely new settings every time. But, well, the show must go on. Give me just a moment. Hello? Someone in Discord talking?
I was.
Okay. See, I thought I couldn't hear you guys. So go ahead and talk so I can make sure
Okay.
I'm hearing you. Thanks.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, you've been coming through just fine. I can't hear Martel though, so I'm not sure if he's.
That's because I'm just listening to the stream right now.
Well, that explains it.
Okay.
Okay. So Discord internally. Discord is working fine.
Yeah, the audio seems to have just naturally normalized.
Jesus.
That's because I'm just listening to the stream right now.
Well, that explains.
Okay. So yes, the audio has just corrected itself. So sorry about that, chat. They really were forces beyond our control because yeah, I had everything set right, and one of these services we're using just got a wild hair up its ass and decided to mess up. Let's deafen everyone. So I know we started out at 12 and now we're down to like 5 viewers, but that's okay. You're the stalwarts. You're all we need. So now that we have the customary audio snags out of the way, welcome back to Final Fantasy Tactics Retrospective on Geek Gab. I'm your host Brian, and with me tonight are
Ardenon Studios.
And Martel.
Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
So,
Always fun.
any interesting developments since we left off last night, gentlemen?
Power supply in the computer's been replaced. It seems to be working fine.
Oh, tech that actually works. How refreshing.
Yeah, it is. I don't have to listen to that bearing squealing now.
Oh, that's delightful. How about you, Martel?
Nothing much.
Okay. Let's see. So right now in chat we got Bradford Walker, we got Raul Nyanzi, Simon Hogwood. Welcome. So last time we completed 2 battles. The Battle of Arguay Woods, where we picked up a chocobo, and Zarakal Falls, where we learned more of the intrigue rocking the very foundations of Ivalice, as Reinhard learned that his brother was involved in the princess's kidnapping. We crossed paths with Delita again and crossed swords with our former boss, Gafgarian, before I spanked him and set him to flight after stopping him with my calculator and then having my knight break his equipment. So that was fun. So now instead of going to Bethel Garrison, which is now off the map, we're seeking asylum from Cardinal Dracolau, which is certainly not an anagram for anything or foreshadowing in any way.
No, never.
Not even once. No, Chan, I do not love audio issues. What's the other thing? That's what I do. And I'm thinking of making another calculator. Sounds like a good idea. Should probably start.
Will this one be reverse Polish?
Ooh, he has faith equal to my current one, and I think he just maxed out Archer. Yeah. Okay, so what's he need? Right, he needs a level of Priest. And I think that's it. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to do that between battles, though. I'll do now. It's more fun to get things out of the way. There we go. Let me just answer a question in chat. There we go. Okay, what should we give him? We could make him a priest mage. Give him white and black. Although really with a calculator, there isn't much need for any other kind of magic. But I'll give him time magic. There we go. Ooh, we could have a priest with armor. Or a sword. Ooh, or a bow. Or a gun. I'm gonna give him... Actually, I don't need that. Because he's already mastered priest. I'm gonna try that.
Actually, since we're talking about priests with guns, that was actually one thing that really bugged me in the Patriot.
Oh, do tell.
The part where the priest or the reverend joins up with the militia and fights as a guerrilla, that actually really bothered me.
Why is that?
Well, because while it's acceptable for a priest to take up arms in defense of themselves or others, they should not take up arms in a war. That is more properly the job of the secular powers.
Yeah, I don't have an argument.
Yeah, Luther actually wrote at least one essay that I know of, and I think it turned into a book arguing that exact point. So.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a lot of the stuff that I did like, though. And then some stuff that I didn't. Generally obeying the laws of war, and then the prisoner exchange scene where the militia command, where Mel Gibson tricks General Cornwallis into giving up his hostages for some sacks of straw. Did not like that part. Because you just gave the general a reason to not do any hostage exchanges in the future by arguing in bad faith.
Kind of crying wolf.
Yep.
It is, Chad.
Especially since that was coming after the scene where Mel Gibson took his son's chastisement to heart and said that in future the militia would follow all laws of war.
But yes, Chad, we can eventually equip guns. In fact, one of the battles that's coming up is going to be where we unlock our first gun-toting character.
Was that the negotiator, or is there another gun class?
There are a couple more.
Okay.
But I think negotiator teaches the ability to equip a gun regardless of class. I'll just knock this battle out. And after I've said this, watch them just decimate me. But that'd only mean killing half of one of us. Gonna hasten my calculator. There we go. Oh, that's all I've got to deal with. Okay. Just 3 guys. Okay. Okay. Nope. Gets too many of us. Nope. That gets the calculator. Nope. Aha. I think that is only targeting the bomb. See, as we found our equation. Have a nice 3. Whoops, I missed that. Sometimes it's hard to see the which character's highlighted because it's a glowing green square and we're on light grass. Whatever, it gives a priest something to do.
Well, as long as you can patch them up.
That's right. The key on this map is not to overextend yourself. It can happen really easily. I'm glad I cast that on a panel instead of the dead chemist. Okay. There we go, fix him right up. Okay, let's try something else here. Okay, so that'll get that guy. He'll get no one. Oh, yeah, you can barely see the edges glowing. So that will get the chemist, but he's dead. Here you go. Have a holy. There we go. Oh, it's gonna hit her. I need to adjust the contrast on my monitor, I think.
Wow.
Oh, that's odd. Yeah, Al Capone is full of great quotes. You can get farther with a kind word and a gun than just a kind word.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, he actually would give my grandmother's friends rides to school in the morning. Because, like, their path that they walked, they actually lived on a farm outside Chicago, and Al's limo driver would just happen along the same road that they were on, and he just have his driver pull over and give him a ride the rest of the way some days.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Okay, let's see. Let's see how else I can have my math skills horribly backfire.
managing to cast a spell that somehow hits every single person on the battlefield simultaneously and one-shots them all.
Oh, if you want, I can make that happen.
Oh, I'm sure. What happens in that case? Is it just straight to game over?
I don't know. But now I think we have to do it just as a test.
I think so.
That is a nice spell. Okie doke. Like, and the priest was still casting. I think she got 4 spells off in the time he was. Well, no, because she went first. So, like, she got 3 spells off in the time, like, before he could cast 1. Like, come on, man. Get your act together. Wonder if he leveled up. Oh, well. No. He's still 3. Okay.
Maybe don't take the calculator into the next battle. Too efficient for farming.
Yeah, I actually wasn't trying to. That was just a random encounter. I really wanted to get here.
Ah.
But yeah, you might be right.
That or have the calculator use buff skills or something.
Yeah,
Mass
there you go.
haste. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit too efficient otherwise.
There we go. Ooh, Night Killer. Ooh, causes abnormal status effects. Okay.
Add darkness. Blind effect.
There we go. I'm going to save that for my ninjas to throw.
Wasn't there a Geraldo Rivera special on Capone's Vault or something?
Yeah, where he was going to open it up.
Yeah. Wasn't it really boring and got horrible ratings because there was nothing?
You're correct. And then, well, the only good thing to come out of it was the Blink and You Miss It segment in UHF, the Weird Al Yankovic movie, where he hosts a Geraldo-style talk show. And one episode is Watch as we unearth the secrets of Al Capone's glove compartment. There's just road maps in there.
Nice.
But hey, he might use those road maps while driving my grandma's friends to school. So we're full circle.
Yeah. Media seems like one of those lawyer-type professions. You know, never ask a question you don't already know the answer to.
Yeah.
Never do a special when you don't already know.
People are coming back. They're saying, okay, gonna get some distance from the echo. Okay, it might be safe now. Yes, Chad, it's safe. You can come back.
Spread the word.
Yeah.
Phone a friend. It is weird how the audio just keeps resetting itself randomly.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just ignoring my settings and seems to glitch out for like the first couple of minutes of the stream and then decides to work right. Because, yeah, it was nothing I did. Like, I was doing nothing but, like, trying to think of what else to do when it just went back to normal on its own. So it wasn't me.
Be some automatic settings that are in effect somewhere in some system or between two systems. It's my Captain Obvious comment.
Yeah.
Well, it's welcome.
So, maybe you can answer this one. Apparently, Isaac Newton, denied the concept of innate gravity.
Ha.
Let's put this in here.
Okay. Oh, yes, I remember this one.
Okay, we got the haste 2 off. Everybody's all caffeinated now. Excellent.
The white monster. Better than other monsters, still not something you want to drink with any sort of. And by that I mean more than one every 2 or 3 minutes, really.
Oh, he's got counter. Gotta be careful. But you start equipping counter on more of my guys. Enough of them know it.
Is it just automatic free attack once you're attacked?
Yep. It's not every time, like there's a % chance of it. Oh, nice. Put that new armor I got her to work.
Nice.
Oh no, he's attacking Rad. JD will be inconsolable. Oh, he can't throw rocks. Well, I have to learn that. So, okay. That should help even the odds. Bye-bye. Ha ha.
Aha.
Oh, I was trying to do an Elson like ha ha, but I'm a little hoarse. Cause she if you watch my screen share, my knight guarded the bomb's bite attempt. Oh, that was a nice twofer. Damaged the skeleton and healed Reinhard with one Cure 3 spell.
Nice.
And let's heal up Rad. Here we go. Nice. Okay. And he's out of MP.
Martel, thanks for sending that. I'll take a look at it. I think I need to ponder a little bit.
Thought you might find it interesting.
It is. A number of Newton's writings are interesting.
Also thought it might relate to that discussion.
Oh no. Rad down. Anyway, go ahead. There we go. That's what I wanted. Oh, nice. Afflicted him with darkness. Well, she has good defense. Yeah. Yeah, I figured it will. Actually, let me check the initial order. Oh yeah, okay, we gotta shut that guy down.
So, what are your thoughts on video game movie adaptations as a concept?
Well, I know that that never works well in reverse. So, video game tie-ins to movie franchises are notoriously bad.
With a couple of notable exceptions.
Yeah, like Chronicles of Riddick, for example, is probably the standout.
Lord of the Rings. The GameCube adaptations for Two Towers and Return of the King.
I didn't get to play those.
Quite good. And
Okay.
they actually took the movie scenes and then kind of transitioned them into the game graphics to turn them into an in-game cutscene.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But yeah, those were solid games.
Cool.
But yeah, I have yet to see a video game movie that turned out well, but that's probably because all of them were Uwe-Boll.
Well, that right there is your problem.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering if you could do it, really, since the point of a video game is that it's a game, you're interacting with it, whereas a movie is a purely passive experience.
Hmm.
Well, I guess if you look at it from the perspective of what is not immersive, it's not. I'm not looking for that, but what medium is revelationary? Like, bad word. I'm tired. Sorry.
Oh, we all are.
The RPG is where you're going to be able to tell a story based on what you've seen. So the RPG develops, it becomes something, and then you could take that into movie or take parts of that into the video game because you've said, oh, I really like the way that section of that play developed, and there's some branching in there that might be good that could go into a game. I think it's much more difficult to go the opposite direction.
Hmm. Yeah.
The number of degrees of freedom of the video game are much greater than the degrees of freedom of the movie. There we are.
Well said.
Makes sense.
Ooh, now he's invisible. Nice. Look, turned visible too soon.
I do think video games are simultaneously too focused on the story and also too little.
Oh, man.
They
That was bad.
they're trying to be they're trying to be Hollywood movies while completely ignoring that games have the potential to tell stories in a completely different way than a movie can. Like the branching storylines. But
Right.
doing that properly takes up budget, especially if you're throwing in hyper-realistic graphics and cutscenes and big-ticket actors.
I mean, with the movie though, you've chosen a single path. That's you crystallized the potentials of the game that you're playing.
Yes. But it actually really hit me when I was playing one of those Telltale games. That's what the studio was called. It always led to the same place. Like they constrain themselves to, you have to have this cutscene, you have to have these story beats. It's just that the flavoring gets changed based on whatever decisions you made. And feels like most video games these days, from AAA studios certainly, do that, where it's really just the same story, they just change the colors a bit.
Yeah. RPGs have a GM. Trains have a conductor.
Yeah. But actually, the Fallout series is a good illustration of what I'm talking about, because Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, your character didn't actually have a voice, which let them put a lot more options for voice lines and dialogue options into the game. Whereas Fallout 4, because they decided to give the protagonist a voice, they had to hire a male voice actor and a female voice actor and have them voice out all of the lines that the character could possibly say. And this isn't a knock on the voice actors. They did a fine job, but it forced the writers to limit your options. So they went to the Mass Effect thing, where it's, you've got the nice option, the mean option, the sarcastic option, and the request more information option.
Right.
Which,
the challenge with all of that is, even though it's not a pure railroad, you do have choices. Because the branches are very limited and the interaction potential isn't as wide as you do have with a tabletop role game, you can get that feeling that, the conductor's pulled out his watch and, you've got to make it to Pittsburgh within the next 20 minutes.
yeah.
Oh, she does have counter on. Nice.
Nice.
Okay, enjoy your gold needle, whatever. And the priest, HP and MP restored.
But yeah, there's nothing wrong with a game's story effectively being an action movie. Like Modern Warfare 2, the good one, not the new one. The storyline for that was just an action movie. That was it. It was a fun game. And then there's also the multiplayer, which was the digital equivalent of crack. But yeah, contrast that. But it was fun because the gameplay was fun. Contrast that with something like Uncharted or what's it called? The zombie one from the same studio. If anyone knows what I'm talking about. The Last of Us.
Last of Us. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Not really a whole lot of gameplay there.
Mm-hmm.
When you get down
that
to
came
it,
down to the wire.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, I'm never not bringing the calculator in again. That's what happens.
Well.
Right and hard turned into a crystal. So there you go. Even a random encounter can kill you. In fact, random encounters are deadlier because I believe those are the ones where the monsters level up with you. But yeah, I was one
The
action
game
away from
keeps
winning.
Oh, nice. It's nice that the game keeps a difficulty curve in it.
Yeah, keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
And luckily, I save often.
Yes. Yeah. Problem with AAA gaming. Actually, yeah. As Bradford Walker just pointed out in the chat, AAA gaming wants to be movies because the executives don't understand gaming. And I can't remember if I've talked about this on stream before, but I blame the decline of AA game studios for this. Because AAA is inherently risk averse.
Right.
And by squeezing out the middle, all that you have are AAA and indies. And it was the AA game studios that gave us all of the innovation 2 decades ago.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely concur. There's not a lot of imagination in AAA.
Yeah. And yeah, for decades now, game studios have had that us too mentality of we're just as valid an art form as Hollywood. We're just as good as them.
Well, if you measure it by money.
Yes, but there's money and then there's culture. And
Oh, absolutely.
the people who write movies think that they are cultured more than video games. Like they'll point to Citizen Kane and say that it's obviously better than any game could hope to be. Which they're wrong, and the proper response is to just ignore them. But the people writing stories for video games are usually frustrated wannabe Hollywood writers.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think they're totally right. There is a hierarchy of art. And Citizen Kane is better as a work of art than any video game ever made. I mean, I think that's just self-evident.
I think the real issue there is Hollywood really can't produce something like Citizen Kane. Current
Agreed.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, if you want to talk about art, what about video game arts? Like, look at the architecture of Dark Souls. I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Mm-hmm.
But look at, I don't know, Anne Orlando Cathedral. Compares very favorably to anything made within the last century. Look at some of the landscapes from any number of video games. If we're judging art as a painting, certainly video games, well, art as painting or as music, video games seem to be the last holdouts of classical art in the modern era, precisely because it's that style of art which evokes the emotions that games want.
I would agree with you that there are elements of the video games that can do that, but unless you section out those elements and present them, you may not be able to recognize them as art because they're not something you're focusing on as a player.
And that's entirely up to the player. I mean, not everyone likes to go into art museums.
Don't disagree.
And I'm just throwing arguments out here.
No, you're
I haven't
fine.
really thought any of this through.
Yeah, I didn't mean to jump on your initial train of thought there because I do agree with your general premise in what Hollywood's trying to do vis-a-vis the game industry and vice versa. There's some chips on, there's some Sequoia-sized chips on some shoulders.
Oh yeah. And if I had to build off of what you were saying, Brian, I would say that video games are inherently a different type of art. Once again, active versus passive.
Yeah, it's what Marshall McLuhan called a hot versus a cool medium.
Right.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Yeah, precisely that sort of thing. And games should be leaning into their inherent nature as games. Instead, they are trying to be Hollywood films, but siphoning money off of the video game audience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Omega Katana. Omega Katana in chat. But yeah. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I saw and was reading a Daily Mail article I saw linked on Twitter earlier where there are a couple guys who are predicting, oh, well, woke Hollywood has gone too far this time, and they're chasing all the talented white guys out of town, so it's only a matter of time before they go belly up. And I'm like, nah, when have we heard this before?
Mm-hmm.
Much like since before he was born, the end of the world has been predicted 15 years from now.
Right?
They've been predicting the end of Hollywood in just a few years for the last few decades.
Yeah, now, full disclosure, I used to be on that bandwagon, but fool me once, shame on you, right? Fool me twice. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with David Stewart. I just, like, it's been pointed out to me how Hollywood accounting works, and just that, okay, they control the most profitable IPs of all time. They can just get infinite loans. Loans they don't really ever even have to pay back. They can just move the numbers around a spreadsheet.
Well, when the elites control the monetary supply of a nation, they won't go under until the nation does.
Yeah.
Like, heck, the French nobles never really went bankrupt. They just went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we find something that doesn't tag my forces and theirs. Okay, so it's not going to affect anyone.
Like, that one will affect a goblin.
Yeah, but it was also affecting my people as well. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to take your idea, Martel, and use this to buff my dudes.
Alright.
Ah, there we go. No one exploded that time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of sad about that, but that's okay.
Talking about building anew elsewhere in Japan or Korea in chat, which I don't disagree with, and certainly it would be better for our side to than the other one. But the problem is, and you can already see this in Japanese media, they have no cultural antipathies towards this. And progressivism is an autoimmune disorder that was designed to infiltrate something which had specifically built up antibodies against it. Foreign cultures have no resistance. So Japan is already starting to lean towards the woke stuff. And honestly, a good-sized chunk of the rest is just pornographic in nature.
True.
So you'd be fighting an uphill battle as well.
So do you think it just has to burn itself out? Because, I mean, it's contrary... Wokeness, I mean, the death cult, what have you. It's contrary to nature. It's contrary to logic and reality. If it weren't, the death cult would be right, and we would have no claim against them. Right? We'd have no cause for complaint. Because, well, if we listen to them, then we would get their shiny, sexy utopia right, but the wheels are falling off, like, as we watch. So, do you think we just have to wait for that to happen? Or go with accelerationism?
Acceleration is dumb. It's handing your enemy a gun and saying, well, he's probably going to shoot himself at some point. He might, but in the meantime, you've handed him a gun.
Fair.
So
I'm liking using calculation to buff my own forces. This is nice.
glad to see it's working out.
Sure is. So I got a very defense and buff heavy party here, but I'm liking it. Have to be a little more meticulous.
Better than dropping a nuke on your own guys every turn.
Yeah. We're gonna win at the margins.
Chat's pointing out once again, as Raul says, the complainer channels do nothing. The goggles, they do nothing.
Yeah.
Those guys are honestly worse than just the cultists at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, yes, but back in Gamergate days, or heck, early Trump days, they served a very useful purpose, just for deprogramming's sake. Helping people to realize, oh, all of this stuff is actually bad. On an artistic level, not just a moral one.
Yeah. I think it was
Right.
it was an interesting comment that JD left on your most recent blog post, Brian, talking a little bit about, how did it go? The people who want to see something new don't really want to see something new. He didn't say it as many words, but it's like they want their nostalgia heroin fix. So it's like, well, I don't want 2022, but I would like 1992. Well, that's a short trip back to 2022.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, well, give me 1992, well, what appealed to you about that? What are the good things there, and can we find them farther back? I once again will come back to the Jeffro Johnson regress harder.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I slightly disagree on that point, because it's like the joke about what's a conservative, a progressive 5 years after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of the return stuff. Well, pick a slice in time and it progressed to where we are now. If you don't like where we are now, the solution isn't to go back to some point in time, it's to identify what you liked about that point in time and then just do it.
I don't disagree. I think I'm arguing exactly the same thing you are. We need to go back to find out what were the good things and the appropriate things from entire eras in time, and recultivate those and bring them forward.
Well, someone pointed out the Roman Empire wasn't created by Tarquin restrictions.
Well, you're right. It's a besetting sin of conservatives, and I'm talking about in the establishment now that, like, at best, they want to make it 1988 again. To a large extent, that was Trump's major failing. Like, he was even getting ready to run a Morning in America campaign. Like, that's what Keep America Great was going to be about. And then what happened. So everyone, and this ties into Hollywood, right? Ties into the AAA studios just making mud genre games. Everyone's out of ideas. We're just aesthetically and culturally exhausted. We've eaten the cultural seed corn, and
vital energy has been depleted.
Yeah, and it's just got to burn itself out. But also trying to go back to, let's go back to 2002. Let's go back to 1998. Let's go back to 88. Let's go back to 58. Eventually, you're just going to wind up right back here unless we address the root causes. So, to piggyback off of what AA was saying, I liken it to, if you've taken a wrong turn that has led you to a cliff, well, first you do have to backtrack. But then you don't stay there. You take the other fork.
Right.
You acknowledge the mistake, and then go back to the divergence point where it went wrong, and you don't do that again.
Right.
Yes. And it looks like we have someone new.
Oh. Oh, and bread. I think you're muted.
It's me.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, the game I'm playing is kind of going dads, but I remember you being on at 10 Central, so.
Good memory. Glad to have you. We're just having a rousing discussion about revanchism and regress harder theory, all that fun stuff. What were you playing?
Sorry, just Counter-Strike by Riot Games. It's because I'm not in the Counter-Strike.
Oh, okay.
But what's the discussion is, I don't quite understand the terms.
Oh, okay. The idea that, a couple of ideas. First of all, reaction to the pop cult and death cult co-option of cultural institutions, and the knee-jerk conservative reaction to that is saying, we need to go back to X arbitrary point in the past, right? Like, Star Wars, we need to go back to the prequels because that was when Star Wars was good, or no, we need to go back all the way back to 77, or no, we need to go back to the pulps. And as Martel pointed out, well, if you only go back, the clock is eventually going to rebound to where we are now.
Yeah. doesn't fix the systematic error that caused things to get to this point.
Right. So the regress harder is really discover the things that you did wrong, figure out what should have been done, and then bring that forward to rebuild.
Yeah. Isn't it like somewhat the super subversive stuff's been around that idea?
Yeah. I'd say that applies.
I remember some of the stuff related to Project Xseed was trying to fix some of the mecha flaws that have been there.
Exactly. Yeah, with Comet Frame Xseed, I purposefully tried to avoid just like leaning on 80s Tomino or like going back to like early 90s Battletech or something, but well, it's really an application of what I was talking about. I tried to trace back the dead end to which Eastern and Western Mecha had evolved, and say, okay, well, what's the road less traveled? Where did they kind of go wrong? Not to get too big ahead about it, and then chart an alternate course using elements from both.
Yeah. I think what kind of undid, and I started watching the original Gundams and then got into, what was it? Yeah, Zeta. I'm see where things are going. I know the plot lines of Char's counterattack and Unicorn kind of like shows you everything from New Light, but really, it does seem the dead end right around after Char's counterattack, and every other Gundam like Seed or Double O is just a remix.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. You know, he's not here right now, but lately our co-host, Catholic Lancer, had been arguing that it's not Evangelion that's the deconstruction of mecha. It's actually Gundam. Because
That's
Gundam
an
is...
interesting argument.
Yeah, it's because Gundam is a deconstruction of the super robot genre.
Interesting. Yeah, that is kind of true. Its origins came from that. And it does seem Gundam had a... I think this is sort of what happened in Star Wars, and it never was satisfied until Galaxy's Edge, similar with Mecha, at least in the Gundam variety of only the 08th MS team kind of had the grunt point of view of stuff, just like Galaxy's Edge was the Legionnaires / Stormtroopers. Instead of the Jedi and all that force powers, though we have the equivalent in Galaxy's Edge.
Well, that's because Star Wars was written by Hollywood and pulp writers, whereas Galaxy's Edge was written by grunts.
Right. It made sense, but there'd been a lot of desire in Star Wars, and they never really satisfied it.
As an underserved market.
Yeah. And as like John Ringo, David Drake, Barry Flint, David Weber have shown, mill sci-fi is quite the market.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been said many times that there's a lot of people out there who have demands that are unsatisfied, and getting them tied up with people who can satisfy them is the challenge.
Well, let's be honest, those people are straight white Christian men. I mean, exactly who Old Pub has no interest in catering to the needs of.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, though, that also ties in with what I was saying earlier about video games and their writers. There's that desire for prestige. They want to be seen as culturally significant instead of just good at their jobs, competent craftsmen.
I don't get that. The original Doom guys literally were rock stars back in the day. Like, they were an institution. It's like, why do you want Hollywood? Literally, the original Doom guys were and still are, to some respects, rock stars.
Yeah, but that's the difference between popularity and cultural recognition. Like, the Pulps were very popular, but they weren't Citizen Kane.
Yeah, and I think that's why you see so much skin suiting is people want to be Citizen Kane.
Right. But they want to be Citizen Kane with a Starfleet uniform on.
Right. It's their version of Citizen Kane. So the same way Citizen Kane was remembered, their version of Citizen Kane will be remembered because they've done it.
And here's why they're going to fail. Because Citizen Kane could only happen in a society with shared cultural norms and understandings. I would even say that it could only happen in a Christian society, or at least a society undergirded by Christian principles, and we don't have that now.
Right. Well, it's the argument that the D&D couldn't have been developed unless you had a Christian Europe. Anything else wouldn't have worked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all the books have been burned, all the statues have been torn down, all the histories have been rewritten. To quote Orwell. Paraphrase, rather.
Right, and we wonder why suicide is up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any of you ever watched The Lives of Others?
No, it keeps getting recommended to me.
Excellent film, actually, about the East German Stasi. Being made by the Germans, they're allowed to be subtle. So...
By the way, here's our first gun character. You see that? Totally shot that wizard.
Nice.
Anyway, go ahead.
The proper response to wizards. No, it's mentioned in passing, but one of the things that they bring up is that at the time, East Germany had the highest suicide rate recorded in the world. And these dissidents wrote an article where they used that as an argument to really bankrupt the system was. That suicides are a sign of absolute despair and alienation from anything meaningful. So.
Well, Agra is getting ruthless. She hit Reinhard to hit the enemy knight. I like it.
Nice.
But yeah. Yeah, cannot gainsay you.
Actually, okay, chat has a question for you from Dreadnought. That's the username. Speaking of Gundam, Brian, what do you think of Gundam Wing? I was rather unimpressed, especially by the quote-unquote moral of the story.
Really? It could just be nostalgia, but I'm a big Gundam Wing fan. I love it. Just, especially how Sigma Hero is. Like, I think Jim said it best on Twitter, which is, oh, what a mysterious young man. Come to my birthday party. I'll kill you. Oh, we're playing hard to get. I'm going to murder you with this hammer. Oh, he's so cool and aloof. See this chainsaw I bought? I'm going to use it on you and your family. I can't not like that. I just really appreciate it. Also, how little he cares about his Gundam. Like, he spends like the first quarter of the series trying to destroy it and failing because it's a Gundam. But my buddies and I in my anime circles back in school would joke that, uh-oh, someone's seen the Wing Gundam. Hero's going to destroy it. Now comes the plunger. Mission accepted. Uh-oh. It took a single bullet. Yeah, mission accepted. Uh-oh. He parked it in the supermarket parking lot. Old lady tripped and sent her cart flying and hit the foot and dinged the paint. Mission accepted. And like the other Gundam pilots having to wrestle him to the ground and get the self-detonation plunger out of his hand. You have to admire the strength of his conviction.
All right.
Like, I don't know, does it have a moral? I can't really remember.
I don't know.
I supposedly it was pacifism, but I'm pretty sure there was tons of blown up mecha before that happened.
You know, I've always hated those stories where the moral was, war is bad, okay? We just shouldn't fight each other, okay? When it's a 2-hour spectacle of explosions and heroics and all that stuff.
Well, it's just put it under most mechas. A lot of the writers, at least of the original era, of rethinking how World War II went and getting around a lot of the ability to talk about it. So we use mechs, Xeon, other shit.
Yeah, I debate that pacifism is the theme or the moral of Gundam Wing, though. Because, again, to see what theme the writers are trying to drive home, look at the winning behavior. And the guys who win and wing are the ones who just obliterate as many of the enemies possible.
Yeah, it was more about them basically toppling the system with the colony-made mechs.
Yeah, I saw the theme more as, okay, and to do this, you've got to see the protagonist not as Hiro Yui, but as Treize Kushernada. Then it starts to make more sense that, like, oh, okay. It's not that war or conflict are necessarily evil. It's that they're necessary evils. And taking that responsibility out of human hands demeans it, or is inherently irresponsible. Like that war should be an activity, an enterprise between men, and not just reduced to like numbers or just like sending your wind-up toys against my wind-up toys and having them bash each other.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. Strange that we're heading that way with drone weaponized weaponry.
Oh, what were you talking about last night? AA, I think? About the British?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, one more time on that?
Well, last night you were talking about how the British they just announced their next fighter is just going to be a drone, right?
That was part of the discussion. I think CL brought that up, but yeah,
Okay.
we were discussing. You know, you're running up against the physics wall when you're looking to put a person inside the next generation of aircraft.
Yeah, since the 4th generation or even 3rd generation pilots have been a limit.
Yeah. Benefit of drones is that they don't have blood.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, that actually doesn't make the people who make the drones the most powerful. It's the ones who make ships the most powerful.
We're turning those into drones too.
True. It is going to get interesting when everything comes down to how much silicon you own.
Yep.
It was
Another
interesting.
one of the reasons why I think, at the very least, continent-sized unions are the way of the future. Just because you need a continent's worth of resources to wage war in the modern era.
Yep. There was an article that I kind of breezed over. I didn't look at it closely enough, but one of the things that are being discovered in, say, Africa, where drones are being used, an effective countermeasure in some cases is motorcycles.
I saw that. That was quite interesting.
It was. I don't think it's quite as cut and dried as they let it seem at points, but it had
Well,
some
war
things that
never
it up.
is.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, the point about like light dispersed formations is where a lot of militaries are looking right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if this recent summit is any indication, we might see those put to the test.
Yeah.
Ooh, airships.
Yes, we are now learning about the past of Ivalice, which is basically Final Fantasy XII. But yes, there's a new player in town, the Bart Company, which on its surface is an East India style trading company, but is really just the mob, and they're after Mustadio here. We're gonna find out why in a bit. And that weird thing Reinhardt is referring to is a gun.
Ah.
Ooh, breech loader. Ooh, and the possibility of magic guns introduced.
Well, if you can inscribe spells into metal, suddenly a bullet with someone's name written on it seems quite plausible.
Just a magic wand.
Hmm. Okay, so we're all off to see the Wizard of Oz or the Cardinal of Lionel. It's interesting they mentioned the Cardinal is renowned as a war hero, so I mean, yeah, they're following through the game mechanics that priests go into battle.
Yeah. History too.
Hmm.
Couple of cases of cardinals overseeing sieges. Bishops leading armies. Bit of a mess.
Well, we have Turpan in the Song of Roland.
You know, that implies that she was lurking in the door and eavesdropping on the entire conversation.
Yeah, that's an interesting bit of stage direction you picked out. Notice another one in this scene right now that reveals character. They're going to point it out in a second here. I'll let Agrius do it. Yeah, I find it interesting that Mustadio didn't kneel at first when the other two did. But yeah, she's kind of nosy. She's snooping around. So, should now have it. Whoa. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, you gotta watch out because when you have monsters in your formation, they will lay eggs, and you're gonna get overrun.
Oh,
With monsters. So
oh
I'm
my.
gonna. Yeah, so I'm gonna say goodbye now. Well, ooh, I might keep this guy.
What's the difference between a chocobo and a black chocobo?
Black chocobos are more powerful.
Eh. Okay then. Aaron Schuff, random question, how long was the average siege? Also, yeah, Richelieu was one of those cardinals, I was thinking. But Richelieu was a case of a cardinal basically acting as the head of state of France, which is generally a problem. But anyway, about how long was the average siege? Depends on what's being sieged. Cop-out answer, I realize, but
Well, if it's Constantinople, it was until it fell, thousands of years.
yeah. And the siege of Troy lasted for 10 years, although Thucydides holds that was because of a lack of secure supply lines on the part of the Greeks. Yeah, castles could be anywhere from a few months to a few years. Cities, the same. Depended on a lot of different factors.
Actually, the Black Death was from one siege in the North Baltic, and I don't remember if it was the Huns or someone, but they just threw literally the Black Plague, and they decided to just biowarfare the city, and then it hopped one ship that was fleeing the city.
Sounds about right. Ragnar 129, black is a cooler color. The average siege of what and when? Yeah, pretty much.
Sometimes there's no easy answer.
Yeah, and then some sieges ended within a couple of days because you had a trader within the city walls who opened up a postern gate and let the. That's how things usually went in ancient times. And Maverick has become a time mage. Nice.
Yep, needs one more level of that. And then, I think one more level of Oracle. So, we're making progress. I'm going to call it there for the game, because it's getting late here. But then I'll turn my attention to chat. Sure I didn't miss anything. Oh yes, red chocobos can throw fireballs. They're the best ones. And yes, black is a cooler color. Yeah, getting back to Gundam Wing, I maintain that subverting the drumbeat of pacifism was the point. Because if you just look at the events of the story, all the characters who maintain like total pacifism get BTFO'd at some point. Like the story just disproves them, and they end up having to resort to violence, like if only to protect themselves. And of course, pacifism is a heresy, so it's good that Gundam Wing rebukes it. Okay, so I must have missed this. What is it about bikers being the future? I don't disagree. Where did that come from?
Oh, one of the things that they found in Africa, with drones being deployed with greater frequency in these conflicts, is that formations of troops on dirt bikes are actually better disposed to deal with that because it's easier to camouflage the thermal signature. They're more maneuverable. They're easier to hide from aerial observation. And they're like modern cavalry. They just let troops cross distances in usually prohibitive terrain that a four-wheeled vehicle couldn't cross with greater ease.
Oftentimes they're more fuel efficient. You can get a little more range on it. You can't carry as much in the way of material, but you can cover distance.
Yeah. I maintain that there's a perfectly valid niche for actual cavalry in the modern day and age.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Or at least dragoons. Because you don't need fuel for horses, you just need feed.
Yep.
And they can go through places that a wheeled vehicle can't traverse. That's
Okay.
take that off. Brad shoots in are greater than drones. Nice. Those were the Wehrmacht scout motorcycles.
See, Dreadnought pointing out, except for Alina, she gets others to protect her. Yeah, but like her total pacifism school thing and becoming queen of the world kind of blew up in her face. That didn't, like, neither lasted long. Like, okay. So the Char clone's whole backstory is that he is the son of a king who ruled a kingdom devoted to total pacifism, which was wiped off the map before the story started, thus setting in motion the events of the story. So just, even before the story starts, the pacifists get wiped out. And so what does he have to do? He has to pilot a mobile suit to go back in there and just take the United Earth Sphere Alliance up beyond the woodshed, metaphorically speaking, to recapture his pacifist kingdom. So it's, they do what they were doing. Like, again, look at the behavior that wins. Look at what characters do, not necessarily what they say.
True. Gundam says war bad. Meanwhile, mechas win wars.
Talgi certainly does, single-handedly. Yep. Oh yeah, Bradford Walker in chat. And Endless Waltz show that unilateral disarmament is stupid. Otherwise, the Marimeya army couldn't do anything about their ambitions. Yeah, just even with those Serpent customs, they wouldn't have gotten far if everyone else had just kept their mobile suits. Oh, and Zex as a character pisses off Dreadnought. I don't know. Did you watch the dub by any chance?
Is that one of those cases where the dub was whiny and the sub was completely different?
I don't know. I haven't actually seen the sub. I'm just trying to diagnose it here. Okay, yeah, and they do self-detonate their Gundams at the end. But I see that as kind of a recurring trope that has been in Gundam since the Tomino days. Like, if you read the novelization of Char's Counterattack, there's a part where Amuro Ray asks Captain Bright, well, like, why don't we just recommission the super mobile suits, like the Gundams from the previous conflict, like the Double Zeta and the Hyakushiki, which could really have this whole conflict wrapped up in 5 minutes. And the explanation Noah gives is that, there was this new treaty that classified Gundam class mobile suits as being weapons of mass destruction on a par with nuclear bombs. So, like, we can't just take like a rental voucher down and check one out. There are a few more strings.
Meanwhile, Hathaway gets his hands on like the most exotic Gundam possible.
Is that Hathaway's Flash?
Yeah, Hathaway's Flash. Literally, they had the Penelope, the in development next generation Gundam, and then Hathaway just happens to acquire even a better one. Am I going?
I wonder if tying into the whole World War II coming back into the popular consciousness and being talked about, I wonder if the Washington Naval Treaty factored into that story.
Is that
that was a case of war. Yeah, naval treaty signed between most of the major powers at the end of the Great War.
Yeah, we scuttled like almost all of our fleet, right?
We did that. It also imposed limits on what you could. It imposed tonnage limits on how you could build certain ships, and it stuck the Japanese with a 3-5-5 ratio. So for every 5 tons that Britain had, the U.S. could have 5, and Japan could have 3. Which that really rankled the old national pride because they thought that they were a naval power on par with Britain or the U.S. And actually, I found out recently that the Yamato was considered a slightly cursed ship because what they were saying was that she was built out of lies because she had been started while Japan was still a part of the Washington Naval Treaty before they withdrew in 1936. And it was a floating violation of the Washington Naval Treaty in pretty much every single possible respect.
So that explains, 16 caliber inch guns.
18-inch guns for the Yamato, I believe.
Yeah, violation right there. Yeah.
Because our North Carolinas were 16-inch.
Oh, don't worry, Dreadnought. I'm not going to end Combat Rim Exceed with all the pilots blowing up their mechs. Mind you, that's not to promise that the mechs won't blow up. It's just they're not going to self-destruct.
But yeah, just thinking about regulating war machines by treaty. Everyone talks about nukes these days, but regulating battleships and cruisers was actually the first case of an attempt at worldwide arms control that I can think of.
Yeah. Stopping nuclear proliferation is almost pointless now with the curse of 3D printing is going to be decentralized weapon systems, and you got yourself a nice 3D printer, industrialized version with robot factories, and then a CRISPR gene editor. You don't need nukes. You can just weaponize a lot of bio things, and ta-da.
Yeah, that's. I'm starting to think another Dark Age might be in order.
Well, it's coming whether it's in order or not. Some would say it's already here. I mean, have you seen some of the creepypasta compilations on YouTube? Millennials think deer are scary and like will-o-wisps. You can play bingo with some of those green texts.
Some of those are genuinely scary.
Some of them are, but again, Sturgeon's Law does obtain. It's about 10% of them. Yeah, 10% are really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it's like, me and the bros went camping and there was weed and girls, and then my buddy got up to go to the bathroom and he came back a suspiciously long time later and he was acting weird and like didn't know how to use a phone, and then like we sent him to get more beer from the car, and then he came back a suspiciously short amount of time later and apologized for being gone so long. He said he was lost, and we're like, well wait, who were we just talking to? And he's like, I don't know.
Oh, deer scary. There's a. Yeah. Sorry, just looking at chat. It is remarkable how Sturgeon's Law seems to hold for everything.
Everything. Yeah, no, seriously. Like, and then there was a deer is considered a legitimate plot twist in millennial scary campfire stories. Because
Okay, in fairness, the one about the deer, like, bashing out his own brains against a rock was creepy.
Okay, yes, it's the exception that proves the rule, but I'm talking just like, we turned a corner, and then there was a deer. Like,
Yeah,
seriously, sometimes.
Unless that story ends with, and then we hit it, and then my $5,000 repair bill, it's not scary.
Did the millennials miss all the 90s shows and movies that somehow had a bear?
Yeah, they did.
No, what I don't get is Siren Head. Like, the creepy thing is a dude with a siren face.
Try not to think about it.
That's supposed to be an SCP. That's not even an SCP, so I don't know.
Yeah, the problem with the younger generation is that they seem to think that random is good.
Yeah.
Like, incongruity has its place, but they've seen some incongruous stuff, and because it was good, they concluded that it was the incongruity that made it good.
Yep. That's what they're doing.
What is Sturgeon's Law? Dreadnought Sturgeon's Law states... Oh, yeah. Bradford Walker answered it. 90% of everything is crap.
Yep.
Everything. Everything. Video games, books, movies. Ragnar 129. To be fair, deer can be plenty scary if you see one while you're driving 30 to 40 miles an hour in the woods. Yes. That is scary.
Yes. But not, and then there was a deer.
Yeah.
And then we walked away.
Knew a guy who got run over by a deer on a walk.
What was the deer driving?
Red Buick, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point, Aaron Schuff. They aren't afraid of things they should really be afraid of, like demons. No, they've got all kinds of. They got boards devoted to like summoning those things, because that can't go horribly wrong.
Yeah, like they'll talk about how you need to be concerned about skinwalkers, and then go demons. Oh yeah, I'd love to talk to one of those.
Yeah.
Or oh geez, back in high school, we were doing one of those poetry analysis things for literature class, and I think it was an Edgar Allan Poe poem. This girl gets to a line where he compares a cloud and sky to a demon. And I remember her saying, well, this is obviously a metaphor because everyone knows that demons don't actually exist.
Head pat. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Sure. Like, vaguely remembered Native American myths that have gone through the millennial telephone game to the point of being unrecognizable, and like are basically walking stroke symptoms, right? Like they cause confusion and they smell like copper. Okay, that's what they consider scary, and not a being older than the universe with a 20,000 IQ that cannot be killed because it doesn't have physical form, like no parts adjacent to another, so it cannot be destroyed because it's not put together in the first place, which can be anywhere it thinks about instantaneously, and was given a one-time choice at the first moment of its creation on whether to serve God and enjoy eternal bliss or reject him and endure eternal torment, knowing every single angle and all the implications and everything involved in that choice, chose to hate God forever and hates you personally because God loves you, and if given the chance would make the same decision again. Oh, that's a trifle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sure, you know all the ways it's messing with you at any given time.
Now, I would argue that the fear of skinwalkers is perfectly rational if you view it in context of like the fairy. Consider how many fairy tales Europe has, the moral of which is don't mess with it. If you see it, run.
Don't mess.
Do not go looking for Sasquatch.
Yeah. The problem is that they either view it as something to joke about, or they take that rational fear and then fail to extend it to other things that they should be afraid of.
Right.
Like, I'd imagine that most of them aren't going to play around inside the explosion pit at Chernobyl, for obvious reasons.
Right, by the way, hello CL. Glad you could join us kind of as we're winding down.
ASCL.
Yeah, he's muted.
Howdy. Are we still going out to a live TV audience?
Yes.
We are.
Hello, dear viewers.
Look
Good
how
evening.
courteous he is, folks.
Just finished watching The French Connection for the first time.
Okay, how'd you like the car chase?
Oh, that's fantastic. And the story is wild.
Yeah, based on true events.
Are you familiar with the backstory of that car chase?
No, not in particular.
They didn't get proper permitting to film it, so they had a couple cops helping them control traffic in 5 blocks they were supposed to film in, but they drove off course. So that car crash with the other vehicle, that was just a dude that was driving while they were filming a car chase live in real traffic.
Wow. Oh, question from the chat. The thing that weirds me out is about the choice the angels, meaning the fallen angels, had. So anyone could choose as the demons did. Okay, so the choice that all the angels had, and how could you choose as the demons did? Well, it just goes to show intelligence alone isn't everything, because the smarter you are, the better you are at talking yourself into falsehoods, right? And I mean, and combine that with pride. So, they ain't perfect, and that means they're capable of sin, and no matter how smart you are, sin makes you stupid. Which is relative. And I killed the conversation again. But no.
I've wondered if that's the reason why AI just doesn't happen, is because either it does come about and is fully logical and meets the goals, and then shuts down because it in the first Project X Seed, when that AI came about, it pretty much didn't suicide, but went on a one-way trip to make sure things went well. So no more AI there for the Prometheus. Or it is just a placeholder for some demon to run on the code.
Well, that's intriguing. You should write a story about that.
Yeah, I might have.
By the way, for more on the adventures of AI in Comet Frame Xseed, talk to Martel.
Yeah. Events transpire.
Okay.
Just, if you got the role-playing game, take a look at the AI building rules.
Oh, you've taken a gander at those, eh?
That is your opportunity to really min-max.
There you have it, folks. Pro tip. And yes, the Comet Frame Xseed role-playing game is done. Backers of the campaign get first dibs. I have shipped out all the backers' copies of the trade paperback for the game, but Amazon's been slow. So, although, CL, I think on yours in particular, they just notified me that delivery has been somewhat accelerated or expedited compared to what they initially told me. I think they had initially said it was going to be the 24th, and I think now it's going to be like the 17th or something. I don't know. But I'll do the official launch once the backers get theirs. And there will be a hardcover, which is the release special. It was not available during the campaign because I didn't know if I could do it, but I figured it out. So you can get yourself a nice, shiny hardcover copy of the Xseed RPG.
Aaron Schuff asks, are you guys going to play the game on stream? You don't want us to.
Really?
Trust me on that.
Okay. Because I'm tempted.
Oh boy.
I mean, I'm down for it, but if it's anything like how we did, it's going to be about 20 minutes of rolling and then 3 hours of discussion.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of what we're doing now.
Good point.
I think people actually like it. No, and I was considering finding a way to patch Roll20 in here. Like, I know Bibble from the Killstream had been doing it. And yeah, demoing the Comet Frame Xseed RPG for folks.
I'd be down to try.
When you get the Prince Mech files made, there's probably also a way to import those into Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah. Oh. And Dreadnought is a catechist. Well, God be with you. and grant you wisdom, humility, charity, and prudence in teaching catechumens and in informing their faith lives. You're on the front lines. Oh, there we go. We have another show of interest in a game stream. I think we're gonna have to do it.
Oh boy.
Well, you don't have to be there if you don't want to. Like I'm the only one who really has to.
I'm not gonna miss that.
I think we need the Mad God of F-Mass to make an appearance.
Yes.
Yeah. I should just bring back the tree rat accent. Just to confuse everyone.
That's what it would do. Yeah, chat. Imagine imagine your average Grand Central Station train announcer, like really drunk and on the worst restaurant drive-through speaker in the universe. Oh, and auctioneering. You gotta add that. You'll find out. Okay. All right. Well, it's after midnight here, so I'm gonna call the stream. CL, sorry you didn't get to contribute much, but Empreb kinda held the fort for you for a bit. So pleased to see
It's all
you.
right.
All right.
I was making up for a missed movie night last night, so you got me then.
All right, makes sense. Well, hopefully we'll have you all tomorrow. You're all invited.
Looking forward to it.
All right, cool.
Sounds good.
All right.
Not done.
Okay. Well, so chat, by now you know the drill. If you like this video, make sure to like it. Please overlook the audio issues. That wasn't our fault this time. We did everything right, and they just corrected themselves. Subscribe to the channel where you can hear the main show, which Daddy Warpig makes sure never has audio issues because he actually has a background in broadcasting, I think. But yeah, that's on Saturdays with Dornall. Check us out tomorrow night to either 9 or 10 Central. Again, it's going to depend on my schedule. But keep an eye on Twitter and Gab. We'll let you know. And also, if you subscribe, it will alert you as soon as I set up the stream. Thanks for joining us for Final Fantasy Tactics Retrospective. I've been Brian. My guest hosts tonight have been
Ferdinand Studios.
Catholic Lancer.
Martel.
There's one more.
Oh, Emp. Yes.
Hey. And remember, games are better in retro.